Franklins that are calling in the distance. So this beautiful male Waterbuck is looking nice and fat now too, so I think he has had an opportunity over the last few weeks to eat and regain his normal muscle and sort of weight capacity that he would have had. Sorry, as I was saying before, my mind got distracted, is that they lose condition fairly quickly when they're mating with all the females. It's quite a strenuous job because he's not just mating with the females, he's also trying to chase off possible contenders, and he needs to try and keep the girls in his space too. I'm going to go forward a little bit. I'm hoping we're going to get a really nice view of this male Waterbuck now. Now, it would be nice if he popped his head over the shrub. Let's see. Come on, lift your head up for us. No, he's decided he's quite used to us. Oh, there we go. Hello. Behind all the trees. Munching away. Zach would like to know how long can this male Waterbuck's horns grow. Now, firstly, just if you've never seen an antelope before, the males particularly or normally have horns. However, there are a few exceptions where the females will have horns too. Now, with a Waterbuck, it's just the males that have the horns. And now, Zach, they can get fairly long. I wouldn't say more than maybe about 80 centimeters, 85 to 90 centimeters would be my guess. I'm not exactly certain. Not anywhere near the length of a kudu. Now, the kudu is another antelope species, and I also said today that I'd love to find a male kudu. Now, a male kudu's horns can get to about 1.2 meters in length. And now, that's an exceptionally large male kudu. But Waterbuck don't quite get as long, and I don't think they're as impressive as a kudu's horns. See, these horns sort of curve back and then go forward again, whereas a kudu's horns they spiral, which is quite amazing. Let's see if he comes out. Slowly but surely. No, he's listening. You see, even already he's on his own, and we saw some Waterbuck earlier, and I mentioned to you that they weren't really paying attention to what was around them, which was quite surprising to me. And possibly because there were more than one Waterbuck in that area, that they were sort of relying on each other to listen out and tell each other if they see anything, whereas this male Waterbuck is all on his own. Now, he's extremely vulnerable walking around like this. He's got nobody else to watch his back. He's got to do it all by himself. So that's why you see him sort of stopping and looking up every few minutes just to make sure. He has also a very nice opportunity to see that lovely white ring that's on their rumps. And I did mention this morning, but we do have new viewers. So just while we're chatting, that is a follow me sign, that white ring. And you'll just have to keep watching the show to find out what a follow me sign actually is. Let's try repositioning once more. Carla would like to know if the males use their horns to impress the females. Oh, we're going to get a nice view of him now. That's beautiful, unobstructed view, everybody. Let's have a quick look at him before he decides to move again. Now, Carla, the bigger the set of horns, obviously the more impressive they look like. Look at him. I mean, he's got exceptional horns. So, yes, in fact, horns are one of the things that females will determine as to who the more attractive male is, I suppose you could say. Now, remember, the antelope want the fittest and the strongest male in that area to mate with them. They don't want to have the second bests. So if you've got nice long horns and you are big like this, it typically means you are mature. Not only do you have long horns, but you have got big, strong muscles too, and you're probably able to push around a younger, less experienced male who's possibly trying to squeeze in and mate with the girls. But he is a lovely boy. I can imagine he will manage to sire a few offspring this year. There we go. And he's going to be very happy soon when all the new shoots of grass come through. Hannah from Sweden, welcome and thank you for watching the show. You'd like to know, do antelope hold territories or do they just roam around? So, no, it depends on the time of the year. So typically the females will just move around wherever they like. And let me tell you a little bit about wildebeest quickly, because wildebeest do it quite nicely, in fact, and I just think they're such comical creatures. So if you look at something like a wildebeest, now they're in the Bovidae family, the males will actually mark and defend territories and wait for the ladies to move through to them. Now, if you're a Impala or a Waterbuck, you may have, it sort of depends, like I said, at different times of the year. When it's rutting, everybody's going to be competing for the main territory, so areas where there's good grazing, where there's a good source of water, and also where there's a point where if there is a bit of wind, they've got some shelter to get out of that miserable weather as well. So at certain times of the year, so it's normally from about March, April, May, around there, it's normally the main rutting season. And then you'll see them all fighting over the prime spots. Now, they're not mating. There's no need for them to hold a territory at all, so they just sort of roam around in this particular area. But off he goes. Now, we're going to carry on with our original plan as well. I'm also looking for elephants. Now, I couldn't find the ones that I heard shouting in the distance. I think they were in some very thick vegetation. So I got a little bit of wind of possibly where they saw so much earlier this afternoon, so I'd like to try and head down that way and see if we can't perhaps relocate on that other herd of elephants a little bit further south from where we are. Hello, Dream of Africa, and you'd like to know, or you've heard that lions don't like to hunt waterbuck because of the smell. Now that's not true. Down in the southern sector of the Sabi Sands, I saw the lions predominantly feeding on kudu, waterbuck and buffalo. So that is actually not true, I'm afraid. That's a little bit of a myth that has managed to find its way into a few guide stories. So Jamie's got the lions. I think head on over to her. Maybe you can ask her a few more questions about why that whole myth, and I'm going to carry on searching for the elephants.
Feel free to ask me all the questions that you would like about this particular lion. Just to let you know, the Nkuhumas, as I said, have been found. There are quite a few vehicles still waiting to go into that sighting, and because it is a main road, there are also people on their way to their lodge driving their own personal cars because it's the main access road. So it's very, very busy at that sighting. And I'm going to keep listening to see if there's a position open, but otherwise I think that we might let the other vehicles have a chance to see the Nkuhumas. We have been so spoilt with them recently, I think it's only fair. And they've certainly done a marvellous job of keeping those cubs incredibly well fed. Our Birmingham boy is still fast asleep. There was a brief moment while you were with Tayla where some kudu stumbled upon the scene, unfortunately out of sight. The only reason I know that they were here was their deep booming alarm calls. It's a deep bark, and it is a sound that travels incredibly far in the bush. And they spotted him, obviously got a fright and started going bah, bah. That's exactly what they sound like, only much, much louder, but I don't want to do it loudly because I don't want to disturb him in any way. And I think that you'll probably find, I'm going to be doing some research on maggots and their effect on injuries like this and how they get out. I assume they crawl out after a while, but I honestly don't know. I feel as though my maggot knowledge is woefully unprepared for a situation like this. We see them all the time on carcasses, but never in this kind of situation. I don't think we need to see it again, though. No more. No closer. Look at him. I'm almost jealous of his mane right now, I have to say. The luscious blonde locks of the Birmingham boy look incredibly warm on this chilly day. I feel as though I wouldn't mind having a mane right now to tuck myself up in. And on that subject, something I was thinking about this morning. We're acutely uncomfortable in human skin, our weak human skin, even though we're covered in layers of clothing. But I do feel sorry, not sorry because we need the rain and it's wonderful that we have it, but I do actually feel a little bit sorry for the animals out here. They had to go through that storm. It would have been the Nkuhuma cubs' first big storm, and I would love to know what they thought of that, how they reacted to the first boom of thunder. I asked yesterday by 2 4-year-olds that were watching our live safari if perhaps the animals get scared of lightning and thunder, and I said not really, but that the cubs maybe, or baby animals might get a little bit scared the first time they hear it. And I would have loved to have been there with the cubs when they heard their first thunder roll. Can you just imagine? Apparently this morning they were covered in mud and all dirty and scruffy looking from the rain. But they are very much exposed to the elements. It's amazing how resilient these creatures are to go through temperatures of freezing cold right up to boiling hot on an almost, well, not a daily basis, but yesterday was boiling. And Samantha, you were wondering about the Styx mange and the effect that the rain might have on that. Perhaps it would help. Would it help or would it hinder? I have honestly no idea. My suggestion would be that it wouldn't have much in the way of an effect. One of the treatments for mange is to have a wash, but that's with special mange treatment, with special shampoos and so on. I don't think that just a standard rain would help. I don't know if it would make it worse. The only thing that might, for me, suggest might make it a little bit worse is it might compromise the bodies of the Styx cubs because they're tiny little creatures and then they're waterlogged and they're cold, so their metabolism is working, or their bodies are working overtime to maintain their internal body temperature. And that in turn, you know how you're more hungry when it's cold? You need to eat a little bit more, you bulk up on food. The same applies for the animals. So I don't know if that would have maybe an effect on them in that their bodies are not quite as resilient as they would normally be. But I have no idea. I don't know if any of you have any suggestions about what the rain would do, if it would make it worse or if it would make it better. It might have brought them some relief, maybe, from the itchiness of their skin and the scabbiness of their skin. Perhaps it made them a little bit more comfortable. But I really honestly have no idea about the answer to that question. Where's that? This way. Oh, you lost me. Oh no, there we go. Oh dear. I'm so sorry. We're going to continue to have conversations like this throughout the day, as I ask Dave whether or not he's got any sound for me. Right, I'm happy to put it to a vote as to what you would like to do. I'm happy to leave him for a bit and then come back a little bit later this evening. Perhaps the hyena might come around. You can send through what you would like to do on #SafariLive on Twitter or email through to questions@WildEarth.tv. What would you like to do? Would you like to stay or would you like to go and search for other things? We'll stay with him for a couple minutes longer and then depending on what you say, I'm more than happy. Now, some of you are a little bit confused about the current layout of the situation. Me too. I'm also a little bit confused, but you wanted to know where we are in relation to everything. So what I'm going to do, we're going to keep looking at the lion for a moment as Jamie attempts to use technology to assist us in this question. I'll tell you exactly where we are. Oh no. Oh, it's there. Oh, there we go. Panic. Don't go, please, audio, don't go. Are we still there, Dave? Yep. Okay, let me get my map up for us and let us show you exactly where we are. Okay, so we are where that blue dot is over there. Here we go. This is Philemon's cut line. This is actually Zoe's road, not Rebecca's road, so just ignore that. That's Zoe's road. This straight line here where the green is, The green is outside of our traverse area. That is Gowrie Main, the road that runs along it. And as far as I can tell from the sounds of the vehicles that I'm hearing, the Nkuhumas with one other Birmingham Boy are just about... Oh, come on, don't do this. The rain's making my screen not work. Move. Ah, there we go. Just about there. There we go. That's where the Nkuhumas are. So a little bit further towards Gowrie Main. They are just ever so slightly on our side of the property. So they're on the north, and we are here. There was one dead buffalo. There's actually 3 dead buffaloes. There's one here where we are. There's one there where the Nkuhumas are. And there's one just... Ah, rain. Rain. Don't make my... There we go. Just to the south there. So there's 3 dead buffalo in this scenario, in this situation. Oh, there you go. And then to give you... Sorry, before we do this, to give you a greater perspective, the blue dot is us on Djuma, and then that's Tayla Dam, so where the dam camera is. And this, all these red dots here, is where the Nkuhumas have been most of the time. That's where Karula was yesterday. And as for that, I have absolutely no idea. Can't remember why I marked that. Oh, I know why I marked that. It was where Sindile deposited his scat. So I could go back and fetch it for our Panthera vials. So if that sounds peculiar to those of you who are joining us for the first time, we collect leopard scat and pop it in a vial that we then pass on to an organization called Panthera. There's a bit of drizzle coming down, and my dashboard cover's blown off completely. We pass that... Cool. Yes, Panthera does genetics testing. So you all happy for me to head out? I'm going to pop my dashboard cover back on, but I'll do that in a moment. So apparently you would like me to go and have a look at the different dams, something that we did this morning, but that I'm more than happy to repeat since we've still got rain pouring down. But we'll send you across to Tayla while we navigate our way out of the sighting, and I'll catch up with you later.
Everybody, I'm frozen. All of a sudden, we've come out to this sort of clearing. I don't know if you can see how open it is, and we're up on quite a high rise. I am frozen this afternoon now. It was so nice driving where we were driving earlier, just because it was a little bit sheltered, and now I'm really being exposed to the harsh elements. Just remember, everybody, it is drizzling on and off out here in the Sabi Sands. There's lots of wind, so occasionally you may see a cloth going across your screen, so don't be alarmed. It's just eggsy, just clearing it, just to make sure that you have the best possible view. I can't even hear myself talking anymore. I'm going to have to start shouting. Oh, goodness gracious. So we are still looking for the elephants. If I was an elephant, I'd be hiding in a drainage line, though. I would not want to be standing outside of this. Wait, maybe we need to go a little bit slower down here, so I don't lose Eggsy. There we go, the cloth. Squeaky clean. Ah, I'm not blurred anymore. Sure, so I know Jamie was showing you on the map where she was. It's amazing how after some time all the roads stick inside of your head and you know exactly where you are going. Unfortunately, that's not the case yet for me. I'm still learning. So I'm trying to head to the last spot of where those elephants were. But now we've got a beautiful herd of Impala who are very clever. They are not elephants, but they're doing what the elephants should be by standing in this drainage line. See here. It's lovely and warm now. Now the temperature feels like it has risen quite a few degrees Celsius. Oh, that is so much better. There's all the lovely ladies, and you can see how fat they all are. All those little fawns developing inside the womb, which is so exciting. And I was telling Eggsy just a few moments ago that I cannot believe how it seems that they have almost doubled in size just within a few days. These little ones really do grow quite quickly. And I think maybe we'll even see some little fawns that are, or lambs that are earlier this year. Maybe you see that? Very, very jittery, very skittish. Once again, everybody, that's just because of this wonderful wind that we're experiencing. Now, Impala have got very good eyesight, everybody. Impala and zebra are normally the ones, if we're doing a bushwalk, that spot us first and will tell all the other animals that we are walking around when we're actually just trying to hide. And that's what the Impala are going to be relying on this afternoon, is not their hearing, not their sense of smell, but in fact their eyesight. It's quite a big herd of females here. There must be about 30, between 30 and 40 of them. They're all scattered all out around us. You can see just every now and then amongst all the grey, miserable brown bush, you can see some of those sort of rusty coloured impalas popping up. Quite a few of them. And most of them are actually moving off down into the drainage line even further. And hopefully they're finding a few little tasty snacks. Oh, that's very loud. I'll turn that radio down. You can see their white tails quite nicely. All the black markings on them too. A little bit of a scratch. Lovely animals. I think you always have to stop and have a look at Impala. You can't just drive past them. There we go. Look at that female. Look at her. She almost looks like she's bursting at the seams. And they're only going to start giving birth sort of the December, January. Carla would like to know, how long does it take for an Impala lamb to develop fully in the womb? Now, if I'm not mistaken, Carla, it's around 6 months or so. So it's not too long. So hopefully they've only got a few more months to go. What are we in now? So halfway through September, October, November. So they're halfway there. So imagine what they're going to be like in a few months' time. Let me just double check that amount quickly. I just want to have a look while you have a look at the Impala. I think it is 6 months, or maybe that's a dacre. I was reading about common dacre today, which is another antelope species, the second smallest antelope species that we see in this area. So my brain could be quite confused because it is so cold. It doesn't know what has hit it over the last few days. It was incredibly hot, and then now it's gone freezing cold. Let me just have a quick look here. Nat.Geo, where are you? Let's see how many that is. Yes, I was correct. About 6 months. It's between 190 and 200 days. So somewhere around there. So they're halfway through. It's always good just to double check. Obviously, I don't want to feed you any incorrect information. These gestation periods do vary slightly. So it's always good to just have a look. And I'm not afraid to admit when I am wrong either. It's important to learn and admit your mistakes well, it's impossible to know everything and try and remember everything when you're out in the bush as well. There's so many different animal species out here, so to try and remember all the gestation periods is quite difficult. But we manage somehow. Right, let's move on from these Impala. I'd like to carry on with my original plan and try and relocate on this herd of elephants. Though at the rate at which I'm going, they could be in Mozambique by now. Like I said, I don't tend to go anywhere very quickly. Hello, just passing them. Bye-bye. And I keep getting distracted by everything. Well, while I slowly make my way through the reserve and hopefully find these elephants for you, let's go over to Jamie for a quick update.
You're trundling along Zoe's Road. You've asked for a sort of a loop of the dams to have a look at how full they've got, presumably, after our enormous amount of rain that, of course, won Dave the title of Weatherman. Downpour Dave, who got the date exactly spot on when we were first going to have rains, more than 20 mils. Not bad, Dave, not bad. The start of the morning's sunrise safari, we had 35 mils overnight. We've probably had a little bit more than that since then. It's been drizzling on and off all day, and it's perfect. That's exactly what we need. The heavy downpours are great, but of course they wash away the top layer of soil. Sorry, I don't know if we are able to listen to this. We can hear the toads starting to croak. Can you hear it, Dave?
I think so, yeah.
How cool is that? Overnight, the chorus starts. Should we try and find a frog? I think we should try and find a frog. It's difficult. It's easier, slightly easier at night. During the day, they have an almost ventriloquist effect to their calls. It makes it very tricky to pinpoint exactly where they are, especially when the wind keeps gusting. Let's give it a go. And of course they go silent as soon as you drive past them. Have I passed the water? I must have. I can't remember exactly. I'm looking for the mud wallow with Pinchy Winer's hole in it, the freshwater crab, in the hope that perhaps there might be a frog somewhere there. Well, we'll keep an eye out for frogs as we go along. It'll be something new and exciting after a couple of months. Now, Charlotte, you were wondering on the subject of our drought relief, actually, and our dams. You wanted to know whether or not there are any catfish hidden in the dams, or if they have all died because of the drought. I think there will still be catfish, to be honest. I think there's going to be a couple of catfish that have managed to survive. Now, just to explain that for our newer viewers, just bear with me one moment. I just want to see if anybody's home. Oh, nobody's home at the shikra nest. VM's decided upon our name for the female shikra that's currently occupied building this nest. Her name is now Shakira. No relationship to anyone intended. Please don't sue us. The little shikra is called Shakira. The male, well, I don't know. We haven't named the male, but the female shikra is called Shakira. Shakira the shikra. Just a little random aside. Moving on from that, back to Charlotte's question, the catfish in the mud. What catfish do as dams start to dry out? They're incredible creatures. They dig down and deep into the mud, and they cover themselves with a mucus-lined sac with breathing tubes in it, essentially as a way of surviving during the drought. And then they slow their metabolism and they essentially go dormant until the next rain, and they can then start to reproduce and swim about and do their normal catfishy things. I think some of them would have survived. I think the drought would have taken a seriously heavy toll on the population, and that we know already, because we saw towards the end of the dams, as they started to dry out, just how much those catfish were struggling, flapping about, being picked off by fish eagles one by one. So obviously some of them didn't make it, and probably some of them might not have dug deep enough into the mud to have actually survived. But I do think that some will have survived, and I think when we go back to the dams, we'll probably find that there will be catfish emerging. They might not come straight away. I don't know how fast catfish come out of that dormancy period. I have absolutely no idea. It would be very interesting to know, actually. I wonder how fast they do. We get terrapins in puddles overnight. Now, for us, driving through these puddles, we have to be very, very careful, even just a couple of hours after rain, to make sure we go through very, very slowly, so that anything in the water has a chance to surf out of it. wonder how one goes about finding out about catfish dormancy. I think I need to try and do some research on that. I've added to my list after maggots. Research catfish dormancy. I must have one of the weirdest to-do lists in the world. Look up maggots, catfish. I do have a little notebook that I try and keep notes and remember the things that I'm meant to go and investigate. Because sometimes you have an amazing sighting and it sort of knocks that thought out of your mind for a while. Now, like Tayla, I'm also keeping an eye out for big grey shapes in the bush. I saw some elephants on my way to the line. I skipped out on them just because I wanted to get to the lions before anybody else on that main road. Unfortunately, everybody else had exactly the same thought that I did, and they all came out early. So much for that theory. And I suppose the reason that they can is because it is so chilly this afternoon. The guests won't be too hot. The safari vehicles usually go out at about 4, just because it's a little bit cooler. There's a bit of relief from the afternoon heat. And I know I saw Ellie's somewhere here. The other thing that's made me exceptionally happy about this rain is, apart from the obvious and the relief from the drought, is the fact that it stopped Rusty's brake squeaks. It's amazing. We tried everything, but a bit of rain was all we needed. I'm trying to spot this particular bird, but I think it has flown away. I can still see it. I'm thinking about my literal reading everywhere. We look at them all the time. There was one of them doing the pearl-spotted owl whistle, sorry, and had me confused for a little while. I was determined I was going to put a pearl-spotted owlet on screen before I realized what it was. And now I want to see, and I want you all to share the moment with me. 380. Oh, Cokie Franklin. Let's look for that at the same time. Hold on, let me go find it. Cokie, Cokie. Oopsie, off the road. Where is this little bird now? It's coming from right here. I can't see it. Can you, Dave? Oh dear. Oh well. It was a nice try. Right, let's have a look at... not as exciting as I thought it was going to be. A variety of grating or shrill notes. Mimics birds of prey, especially pearl-spotted owlet. Okay, that wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. Oh well, we'll have to search for a new bird that we can laugh at the different literal translations of their bird calls. As we head to Treehouse Dam to show you how full it is, let's head across to Tayla, find out how the great elephant search is going.
Jamie, my elephant search is going absolutely nowhere. However, I am listening out very carefully because I can hear some bush-veld rain frogs chirping in the distance. And that is my second favorite animal of all time after the elephants, and my favorite amphibian. Now, what I'm hoping is that we're going to find one on the road, which will be easier because they do tend to stop calling when you get too close to them, and they are very well camouflaged. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to find one unless it's here on the road, which is quite obvious. So you'll see me scanning quite nicely. It's quite nice to hear. There's quite a few of them chirping away in the distance as well. And they're very grumpy looking frogs, pretty much like that hornbill that we saw today. A similar expression. So I think that these elephants have done the sensible thing and moved out of the wind, which is unfortunate for us. But I would have done the same thing if I was an elephant. So we're just carrying on driving along. Maybe we get lucky and just seeing what else is out there this wonderful, windy, cold afternoon. Right, I'm going to do this little loop just to check. We're going to look down into one of the drainage lines just to see if they perhaps haven't gone there somewhere. Also just checking for any little critters that are maybe coming out of these logs that are on the side of the road. Seeing as Jamie found a millipede this afternoon, I'm very impressed with that. So hopefully I get to find something similar. But so far, no luck. And that's the thing about the bush, is that sometimes it's bustling and full of animals. Other times it's really quiet. And that's just something we have to sort of take in our stride. We can't have it good all the time, I'm afraid. There's got to be some quiet moments just to appreciate everything else that's around us. So I don't mind sort of bumbling along and not really seeing anything. Sorry, excuse me. Just scanning. It's quite open. Now, oh yeah. Hello, Charles. So, Charles, I believe you are a new viewer. Welcome, and I hope you decide to watch us. So, Charles, you've asked us if myself and Jamie are putting on a show or if this is actually live. It's live, otherwise I wouldn't be answering your question right now. Can you believe it? So, I think, Eggsy, have a little scan around just to show Charles what's going on out here. At the moment, there's nothing going on. And this is what I love, Charles, about live safaris, is that nothing is staged. It just happens. You've got to be at the right place at the right time. If it was pre-recorded, then we'd be showing you all sorts of animals all the time, and you'd never see quiet bits like this. So it is indeed a real live safari. Pretty spectacular that we can do something like this in the middle of Africa. So, Charles, just so that you know, we are on a reserve called Djuma, Private Game Reserve, which is situated in the Sabi Sands, which is essentially like a wilderness area, and we are part of the greater Kruger area. So the animals have got 8.5 million acres of land to roam around in. So it's a massive piece of land, and we've only got certain sections that we can traverse on, which is pretty amazing that we get to see all the things. I don't know if you were watching earlier, but Jamie had some lions, and we are looking for elephants. And we've had a bit of rain last night, as we've been chatting about, and I want to find a nice little point again. Actually, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to change my route plan completely. The elephants don't want to be found. Let's go to quarantine in a lovely open area, and let's try and get a quick photo of the open area. Remember, we are trying to document the changes over the next few days after we've had this rain. We're looking forward to seeing all the grass pop up. So let's go and do that, because it's getting dark quite quickly. We're not too far away. I just probably need to put my foot down on the accelerator a little bit as this light disappears. But Charles, I hope you have been enjoying the show, and I hope you continue watching us. We don't just do safaris in the afternoon, we actually do safaris bright and early in the morning. So you're welcome to have a look on our website and see, and just see when our times are. Right, you know who I'm going to bump into now? Madam Jamie is just up ahead, and she's probably going to try and avoid me before I coax her out the vehicle and make her do another dance. And if you were watching as well this morning, I didn't have to change any tires, I didn't have to wash any vehicles, and I actually didn't even make her a cup of tea. I feel quite bad, but there she is. You can see her. And you can also see the rain covers now, everybody. This is some of the equipment we have to use in order to try and protect the vehicles. Hello, Jamie, and hello, birthday boy David. Should we sing happy birthday quickly? Let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. And you, Eggsy, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear David. Happy birthday to you. Now, you can all probably hear the horrible sound of my voice, and Jamie got away from it this time. We hope you're having a good day. Yes, did you see that? That's a good quote. So Jamie said, I don't know if you heard that even David, Downpour Dave, who's the master at predicting weather, even sang happy birthday to himself. No shame there. We'll see you later. Right, everybody, we're going to head to quarantine, like I said now. So it's always nice to just stop for a little chat and just see what's happening. And something that's quite funny is spending birthdays in the bush. Now, I've done quite a few birthdays in the bush. I recently just had a birthday in the bush, and it sort of doesn't really feel like any other day because we're often always working. But luckily, we are surrounded by the most amazing people. The people that we work with become our family. We live with them 24/7, and we often live with each other for 6 weeks at a time. So it's really nice to sort of share those special days with your bush families. Okay, we're almost at quarantine. Now we need to pick our spot, everybody. Like I said, we're going to try and find a tree of some sort that we can use as a marker. We can take the same photo every single day. Almost there, just a few minutes away. And still no elephants. But I think I'm going to give up on the elephants. And if they want to be seen, then they just need to walk out, or actually just step out in the road in front of me, and then I will view them. Okay, almost here. One last bump. Up we go. Woo. Okay, so I'm going to find a nice little spot. Need to do a bit of scouting when I get to the open area. I'm going to send you back to Jamie and maybe request that she also sings happy birthday, seeing as unfortunately you only heard my voice.
I think that's an absolutely lovely idea that Tayla's come up with. A brilliant way of almost time-lapsing the growth of the grass and the plants, and it's going to be absolutely spectacular to watch. And that, of course, is the joys of watching Safari Live and doing Safari Live, that you get to see the changes day after day and month after month out here in the African bush. Copy that. Thanks, Mike. Are you with them? Okay, copy that. There's one Birmingham just a little bit northwest of that as well, close to Philemon's cut line. They might be moving to him. Thank you. Okay, I think we're going to change our plans. Mike's just told me that one of the Birmingham Boys and one of the Lionesses have left the kill and are now moving away from the rest of the pride. And I'm just wondering, it might be worth hanging out and seeing whether or not they pop out with that Birmingham Boy. So let's actually go back in that direction. We'll just have a quick look and see whether or not they're on their way there. It might be interesting to see the interaction. And what could have happened with that Birmingham Boy is that he just decided he wanted to go and re-find his buddy. Let's go and see. Sorry, I know you're all excited about the dams, and I am too. But this might be quite interesting. Okay, I don't know exactly where that kill is, but if they're wandering northwest, they must be going in the right direction. Let's just go and see. My suspicion, now that I'm sort of unfolding the mysteries of last night, is first of all that we just missed those kills by probably about half an hour or so. I think they happened just before it got light this morning. And that, I think, is why that lioness was separated from the rest of the group and why she went back to where she last had the pride hunting the buffalo and then started calling as she walked along the road, and she popped out not too far away from where we are now. So she must have killed the one that's on the northern side of our boundary. They ran on, killed that little buffalo that we were with the Birmingham Boy, and the lionesses continued on and killed the one further to the south. And poor buffalo had a very bad night. Watch out, Impala. There are hunting lions. Well, not hunting lions. There are moving lions with very full bellies. Let's see. I think let's go a little bit further on. I think the sighting's just a bit... I'm trying to gauge from listening to the Game Drive channel when I heard people going past and when they arrived at the sighting. I'm trying to gauge average speed and distance and just how far away they would be. I think they're going to pop out here. Steer into the wind. Basically want to get there for the reunion, if that is indeed where they're off to. See the reunion between our Birmingham Boy and the one that's on the move. Okay, well, we head back and see whether or not they're on their way. Tayla has found a good spot for her vegetation monitoring survey. Let's head across and see which spot she has chosen.
It may not look like much, everybody, but this is the spot I've chosen. This is on quarantine, so it's quite close to home for us, but also it's nice and open. So take a screen capture very quickly of this setting that we have here. Right, I've heard the clicks, so I presume everybody's taken their screen capture. Now, Eggsy's going to zoom in onto the termite mound and he's going to show a bit of grass in the surrounding, just so we can get a good spot. So we're going to do 2 spots here. There we go. Now, I would like you all to take another screen capture of that. Right, everybody got their screenshots? I'll hold it there for a few more moments. Fantastic. And now we're going to be comparing these images over the next few days, everybody. And hopefully we'll be able to see a nice difference as the new green grass starts to shoot through the wonderful fertilized soil that we now have after all this luscious rain. The wind is really bad out here again. We're now out in the open, and I heard some squirrels alarm calling quite close to Inger's, so that's where Jamie stays, and I just want to go and do a quick little drive around there and just see if we can't perhaps see anything. Now, I'll say it again, I do not trust squirrels. They alarm call for all sorts of different things. So not only would they alarm call for something like a leopard or a lion, even a hyena, but because they're so small in size, they're also alarm calling for birds of prey. So the different eagles that we get, lizard, buzzards, goshawks, you name it, as well as snakes. And this can obviously be quite deceiving. Even something like a serval, they'll alarm call for an African wildcat. This is why I don't trust them. And then I've seen him just shouting for absolutely nothing. So let's just do a quick drive-by. You never know. Jamie has just fed through a little message, and Jamie says that these squirrels tend to alarm call all the time for absolutely no reason. But we're going to check, because could you imagine that squirrel was actually alarm calling for something like a leopard, and I decided to not go and have a look? I mean, how disappointing would that be? So we will just go and check, just to put my curious mind at ease. So you're gonna see a little bit of a fence just now, but don't worry, that is just where Jamie lives. And we're also going to see if she's left the gate open. She could have a few little visitors coming through this evening. We'll see that now. Oh, she's driving straight into the wind, everybody. I'm freezing again. Shouting. See, the gates are open, everybody. So maybe there's a leopard inside already cuddled up on Jamie's bed. We're going to take this next road down here to the left and just do a quick little loop through this block. We're probably going to even go past the Djuma Dam just to have a look and just double check. I know that Karula quite likes this area, and she often walks these paths. So there's no harm in just poking our noses in to have a quick look-see. Right, everybody, the cloth is coming out to clean the screen. There we go, you can see it. It's been spitting the entire afternoon, so we need to just keep cleaning that. There we go, you can see. Now we're nice and clean again. Right. I haven't seen anything yet, and I haven't heard anything else alarm calling, but there's some really big animal pathways going through here that if I was a leopard, I'd probably walk on those and avoid all the thorns. And I can slowly also hear a few of the birds giving off their last call for the evening, but unfortunately I don't think you at home watching the show will be able to hear that too well this evening, just because the amount of wind that is gusting. See if I can find a nice big animal pathway for you to have a look at as well. Just check here. No good examples just yet. Oh, that's an alright one. Have a look at this. Let me go forward so you can actually see how it bends. Oh, there's the off button. There it is. And you see that animal pathway that goes just down there? Can you see it? Almost looks like it's a road. So it's just to the right there. You see? See how it comes out and it joins on the road and then it goes off on its own way. So the animals don't just use the roadways that we have ploughed sort of as we've gone through the bush, but they also make their own. And normally big animal pathways like that will actually lead straight to a water source. So that one probably crosses the road and then carries on and goes towards a Djuma pan. But there'll be a number of different animal pathways. You'll get ones that the mice will use, so they may have even smaller little pathways than the one we just saw. We've got a number of them going through, weaving in and out of this area, and it's quite nice during the winter months because you can actually see them. In summer, when it is so dense, there's lots and lots of leaves on all the different tree species, which obviously makes it quite difficult to see things like that. Okay, we're on our way to the dam, and I still haven't seen anything, and I still haven't heard anybody else alarm calling. Radio. So possibly that squirrel was shouting for nothing. These are my suspicions. But I hope that squirrel is going to prove me wrong, because we haven't seen a leopard since yesterday, and we only saw Karula and her two cubs very briefly before she was chased away by some baboons. But I suspect as well that as the weather warms up, the spotted cats shall come out and present themselves to us. Hello, Debbie. Debbie! Oh, hang on. we're in the mud. It felt like I had a flat tire for a second, but the mud just grabbed me and pulled me in. So Debbie says, if we can't find a leopard, can we find a leopard tortoise? Debbie, I would love to see a leopard tortoise. Normally just after rain you will see a lot of leopard tortoises, and even the hinge-back tortoises are coming out, but I think it is a little bit too chilly for them. Normally you start to see reptiles coming out in temperatures hotter than about 21 degrees Celsius. So hopefully as we warm up, we're going to start seeing them. Right, everyone? I'm still searching around here for whatever the squirrel was shouting at, and just checking the cam. Let's go back to Jamie, who has got a little surprise for you.
We are back with our Birmingham boy and his somewhat swollen face. And surprise, surprise, we were indeed correct. And look who has joined the party. Keep looking, keep going. There we go. I think I should have bought the coffee, Dave. The pair has joined them, but do I detect a slightly frosty atmosphere? A little bit of brotherly discord in the ranks. Or maybe I'm just cold. I'm projecting onto our poor lions. There is a considerable distance between them. I have no idea which lioness we are with at this point. One of the Nkuhumas. Presume the younger female, but I'm not 100% sure. Probably one of the females without the cubs. Otherwise she wouldn't have accompanied the Birmingham boy. Do we have love in the air as well? Is this a honeymoon couple? Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to give it a few moments to see. Now, I was always going to return to our Birmingham boy because I wanted to see whether or not he's going to roar tonight. And I think we could be in for a treat this evening. There's at least 2 Birmingham boys in this area. I'm not sure where the other 2 are. I don't think there's any more of them. And the Nkuhumas. And they've got multiple kills. There is a chance that they are going to celebrate their good fortune this evening by giving us a demonstration of their incredible vocal abilities. And that is always incredible. Having lions roar right next to the vehicle. Now, I was chatting to Jerry, who is the task of going through some of the footage for various reasons. And she happened upon the moment of the lion hunt where we had the live buffalo kill not too long ago. Now, we kept going black screen in that particular lion hunt. We were on Wendy, and Wendy's signal wasn't quite fully... It was a very tricky patch, to be fair to Wendy, not to insult her. It's always been a bad area. And we kept disappearing off your screens, jumping back to Brent. And there was one moment where Jandre and I were desperately, desperately trying to get out of that particular area and back around. What we didn't realize is that 2 Birmingham males had come and joined the sort of commotion. And it was so thick that we couldn't actually see anything. I could barely see where I was going. We were ducking and diving. Jandre sort of clutching the camera to try and protect it. And all of a sudden, right next to the vehicle, there was a Birmingham boy roaring full... Oh. What was that all about? Oh, what did you do, boy? Oh. He's giving off such disgruntled noises. Interesting. She might be coming into estrus. She might not be there just yet. And I think she treated his advance with some disdain. There's just some growling now. Sure, everybody's head's shot up. Well, that was actually... We ruined the punchline of my story, lions. Very inconsiderate. Sorry, my story was going to be, because I really thought those lions were just going to lie there, my story was going to be that the lion started roaring right next to us, and both Jandre and myself jumped out of our skins. There's no... If you listen to the recording, you can hear us both afterwards, the nervous laughter. Because a surprise lion roar right next to you is enough to make you jump. And Jerry happened to be listening to this with headphones on, and she just was clicking through folders, and she clicked on that particular one and started out of this massive lion roar. And she told me that she got a very big fright in final control. Well, there you go. That was the end of that tale. Our lion also sat up when he heard that growling. I think he's going to feel particularly protective of his own personal space right now, making sure that nobody's coming forward to... Oh, shame, his nose even looks skew, doesn't it? Really doesn't look comfortable at all. Oh well, the scars bear testament to their dominance over this area. Brr. Okay. A peaceful scene, but definitely worth. I know I said we would leave and do a tour of the dams. That will have to wait, because now that it is getting towards dark and the end of the sunset safari, and the fact that we can stay here because there are no cubs, so we can spotlight this group, means that we could be in store for some amazing, amazing sound effects. I'm hoping they're going to do just that, and it is also cold tonight. That will mean, A, that the sound travels further, and B, it means that they will be more energetic. Right, well, with the wind gusting around, you might be wondering what happened to our tent setup. Now, Tayla and I had an interesting experience today, along with Eggsy, in terms of attempting to right it. Let's go and have a look at what's happening to our poor tent on quarantine.
This tent may look familiar to some of you. Probably a little bit more sturdy the last time that you saw it. Now, this is the tent where we actually do some segments in here. We've got all sorts of artifacts. We've got bones, we've got insects, we've got a microscope. We even use Ronald the Rover. Now, if you go down, you can see that some of the bones have found their way out of the tent. And myself, Jamie, and Eggsy had one job this afternoon, and that was to go and see if the tent survived the hurricane-like wind that we had last night. And as you can see, it's flapping about quite a bit. Now, we did go and try and repair it. We took all the pegs out of the ground and we tried to put them back in, but we realized that the ground was obviously quite soft after the rain, and the pegs kept coming out. So we dug some of the bones out and we thought that we could use them as an anchor. They obviously have not worked very well. You can see that the tent is flapping quite a bit, so we'll need to go back and try and fix that a little bit later, but it's still there. Everything inside is dry, so the tent is actually doing its job. Let's just hope it doesn't fly away this evening. Now, I'm going to carry on down the road and just see if we can see any animals, anything really. Maybe some zebra, maybe some impala, possibly a little night critter that's maybe coming out a little bit early because the clouds have come over and it's quite dark. I'm almost going to have to put my spotlight on it. It's getting quite dark this evening. So much earlier today, like probably middle of the day, I did see some impala and zebra around here. So I'm going to try and follow up and see if they are perhaps still in the area. So just bear with me for a few minutes while we... Oh, never mind. You don't have to bear with me for anything. I found them. That was quick. So they've moved quite a way from where I saw them earlier today, and they are all in there. I'm just trying to find a nice little gap, everybody. Always searching for gaps. Oh, we've got... let's do those ones on the termite mound. Can you see the little foal? Well, it's not a tiny foal, but it's probably about a year old now. From last year, most likely, up on the termite mound, munching away on all that lovely, delicious, brown, dry grass. I'm doing spoonerisms, which I believe are Jamie's favorite. Munching away, nom nom nom, getting as much sort of sustenance as it can. Normally we see kudu going up onto the tops of termite mounds, and that in fact is for a completely different reason. They'll normally head on top of the mounds and scout the area and use it sort of as a vantage point. This kudu, this is not a kudu, this zebra, as you can see, is just taking advantage of all the grass that everybody seems to have missed. That looks delicious. And you can see this foal is quite fluffy in comparison to the adults. Now, when these foals are born, they are even a lot fluffier than what this one is, actually. So I think this little one is losing its juvenile coat. And normally they are fluffier than the adults, just to give them an extra layer of warmth to help them through those chilly nights like tonight. All sorts of birds shouting away. doing their last call of the evening to restart that clock. Lovely zebras. We've been lucky. We've actually seen quite a few different species of animals today, considering the revolting wind, though it has settled down quite nicely. Well, we are just in a patch of dense thicket, and you can see the zebra obviously quite happy as well. There's very little tree movement. So some of you probably thinking that I made up this wind, but I promise you, as soon as we move out to an open area again, I will lose my hat a few times, like I have already done today. And off they go into the thicket. You're not going to be kind and come out to us. How disappointing. No, you coming? Come out. They're slowly coming, everybody. Smooth Honey wants to know if a zebra ever have twins. Smooth Honey, I have never seen a zebra with twins before. However, it is quite common in horses, and with a zebra being in the equus family, the same as horses, I think they can indeed have twins. I don't think it's impossible. We often see a lot of twins when it comes to Impala. I've seen many sets of twins from Impala ewes. But it would be quite nice to see a zebra with two foals. Wouldn't that be quite amazing? Hard work for Mom, though. She has to produce twice as much milk and eat twice as much food to be able to look after those little ones. There's a whole group of zebra that I don't know if you can see. They're just a little bit further to the right. Maybe if I go a little bit further forward, I might get a better glance. You can just see their bums through there. There we go. There they are. All the stripy bums. My favourite. Actually, my favourite side of the animals is the bum. Just munching away, and that's all they do. Eat, sleep, eat and sleep. And then occasionally the males will come through and obviously mate with all the females so we can have lovely little foals at the end of the year. But they are disappearing into some thick bush as we are now going to disappear away from the zebra, I'm afraid. Let's see what else we can find. I think it could be dark enough for me to bring out my spotlight. Let's see, my fingers are a little bit frozen, so it's hard to press the button. There we go. Oh wow, look at that. Maybe I can even put some lights on. Should we put some lights on? Let's press all the buttons in the vehicle and see what they do. Hopefully that it's not a self-detonating button, otherwise I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble. And there's a bit of a sprinkle again. Let's go down here. We've got babblers shouting in the distance. Hello Impala. I'm not going to put my spotlight on the Impala, everybody, just because unfortunately their eyes do not work the same way that the nocturnal species, so the nighttime animals, do. So it's important that we keep that light off of their eyes, just because it can cause a bit of disorientation, and sometimes it can take up to 45 minutes for the diurnal, so the daytime animals' eyes, to readjust to that night light. We'll keep it off them. That's still alright, we can see them okay. Have a look at this Impala ram here. I think he's munching on an acacia. Look how nicely he's got his head stretched up. Yes. No, it's not an acacia, everybody. It looks like, I can't even see it anymore because it is so dark. I can't make out what it is. What are you? Is it a buffalo thorn? Yes, it looks like maybe a buffalo thorn. Munching away. And that tree is armed with horrible spikes and thorns and things that we obviously don't like. And look how delicately he is pulling off all those leaves. Nibble, nibble, nibble. Get the little lips moving around, pulling off those leaves. Oh my goodness, you stuck your face right into that tree. That's very brave. I don't know if I'd be willing to do that. And he's got his eyes open. Now normally when you see giraffe feeding on the thorny trees, which they quite often do, you actually see them close their eyes as they poke their heads into the tree, which is quite clever, because that way you're not going to get a thorn or a spike poke through your eyeball. I don't think that's what they want. And they've also got very thick eyelashes to help protect them too. So I don't know, and if I was this impala, I'd maybe be closing my eyes a little bit more, rather than run the risk of getting it stuck. Ooh, you got a bit of a fright. What scared you? No? The slightest thing, especially now as this light starts to fade, they become more and more a little nervous. Good evening, Christine. Christine wants to know if impala give birth seasonally or throughout the year. Now, Christine, they actually give birth at the end of the year. So normally just after the rains, or during the rainy season, in fact. So we should be expecting some impala lambs to arrive anywhere in the next 3 months or so. So even from the end of November, we could see a few start popping out, and otherwise they will go right through to about January, possibly a few late ones maybe in February. It's not uncommon, but you can see that round belly that this female has got over here, so there's definitely a little lamb inside there, and not the lamb that goes bah. I'm talking about a young impala, or a baby impala I should say. I think they've got a nice little spot here out of the wind. A few nice nutritious plants for them to nibble on. They're not having to eat the guarri trees or the silver cluster leaves or anything like that. And that's where impala are quite lucky, is they don't just eat one type of vegetation. They are not just grazers, they are mixed feeders. So they feed on the leaves, as we've witnessed, and then they also go down and they eat the grass too, so they're able to eat a few things. I've even seen them nibbling on fruit, especially the marula fruit, which we will hopefully start to see around February, March, and then everybody eats the marula fruit, even us. And I keep saying this, I cannot wait to try marula beer. So you can actually make, from this marula fruit, you can make a beer, and it's quite simple. All you do is you ferment the fruit and you add water. Apparently it's quite nice, and everybody says it's like jet fuel though, so you've got to have it only in small quantities. And I wonder why no one has ever thought of actually making a commercial beer out of it. I think it could be quite a hit with anybody that comes to visit our wonderful country. Oh yes, so where's my spotlight? I forgot that I was using that because it's now dark. Stretchy cord, it's like I'm doing an exercise, everybody. We won't stretch it too much. So I'm going to be checking. I'm being very ambitious when I'm trying to look on the edges of the branches for things like chameleons, and even looking for something like a galago or a bush baby, as some of you may know them. I think is a bit cheeky. Because it's very cold this evening, and both of those creatures prefer the warmer weather. So I'm not sure what I'm looking for. But however, you see something like this. Let me just go back. I just want to show you this hole. You see that hole in the tree there? You have to go down a little bit. More. Warmer. Hey, there you go. Right on the money. So I'm just going to shine my light away. So a little hole like that would be a really good spot to find something like a bush baby. They will normally live inside the holes of trees. Even a bird, even something like a crested barbet, or those lovely yellow-billed hornbills that we saw this afternoon, would make use of a hole in the tree like this. So never stick your hand into something like that, because there could also be a snake or even a spider, maybe a button spider like what Jamie found the other morning. So it's good not to stick your face or your hands near it. But these are the things we are looking for as we're driving around and spotting, checking all the little crevices to see if there's any creatures that are possibly living in there. Right, everybody, while I carry on looking for anything really, let's see if Jamie has got an update for you.
No major changes here with our lions. I'm just patiently waiting to see whether or not they're going to roar for us. There was a little bit of growling earlier, and I'm not talking about with the female and the male. One of the injured Birmingham boy actually stood up. Hello, boy. Oh, it's the one with the split lip. So it just goes to show. But there was a little bit of disharmony. When the injured Birmingham boy got up and moved back towards the buffalo carcass, this one started rumbling at him. I wouldn't be surprised if these two have already come to blows over this female. It does happen, even with male lions in a coalition together. They do occasionally fight over access to the females, but they usually, I mentioned it before, as kind of pulling their punches. In other words, they don't go full force. Oh, this is going to be tricky now with this light. There's our Birmingham boy over there. The carcass is probably about 2 meters from him, off to the left. That's it there, but you won't be able to see it. I'm not repositioning for now because I actually want to, I don't really want to come between these two groups, and I just want to see how the situation plays out. And I do want to see whether or not they do decide to scrap or not, whether or not they do decide to roar. I'm going to go forward a little bit though. That's what I can do. I can actually see a good place that we can go, and that might help us out. Okay, let's pop that down for the moment and head forward. Let's think about this. My bright idea doesn't actually seem quite so bright when I realize there's a tree in the way. Okay, I know what we'll do. Come with us on a journey as we reposition to the other side of them. That's what we'll do. Hello, boy. I'm giving him quite a lot of space, this injured gentleman. He's not 100%. He's fine, but he's not feeling very well. Yeah, you've got a good view of him. Do you have a bad view of these two? Let's see. So I'm not directly between them. It'll be okay for now, I think. Yeah. Let's have a look at what they're up to. I think everybody's feeling a bit exhausted after the hard work of last night, and you can hardly blame them. It's no small feat bringing down 3 buffalo. I'm not sure what the size of the other 2 was. Oh, rain. It's started to drizzle properly now. Luckily, with our rain covers, it takes more than a few drops of rain to send us scurrying for the shelter of home. Come on, lions. You've only got a limited time. Really interesting question from Sandy, which was, sorry, face full of rain, was whether or not she could control a false estrus to keep the males in the area so that they be more use in protecting the cubs, or around the cubs more to protect them. I don't think so, but that's a really, first of all, I don't think we know everything there is to know about lions. I've never read anything about that, and I don't think so, but it's not a bad suggestion. Lionesses are capable of the most amazing trickery physiologically. Females coming into false estrus when they first part of a takeover, when there are new males in the area, just to make sure that they don't waste resources investing in a litter of cubs belonging to males that are not up to the job of being dominant. False estrus when they've just had cubs and there is a coalition takeover, and tricking the males into trying to mate with them and trying to fool them into thinking the cubs are theirs. I don't know what obviously they don't do that intentionally. I don't believe they do. I don't believe they have that level of planning, but their bodies are obviously capable, evolutionary-wise, of some amazing deceptions. I don't know. It's not a bad point. Probably not, but you never know. I think it was just that Amber Eyes and the young female haven't come into, or haven't managed to achieve the fertilization yet. So their mating attempts so far haven't been successful. Come on, lions. I'm really, really hoping they decide to roar. It would be so wonderful. It's been a while since I've heard a proper lion roar next to the vehicle. I might decide not to bother in this wind. Just blow away. Okay. Well, my choice of vehicle positioning was somewhat poor, I think. So let us try that again. Spread out between two disparate groups. I think I'm going to take these chaps rather than our poor injured boy. I'm going to let him just sleep in the corner there. He's probably not feeling great. His kill is right there. Now he's got a rival over here with a lady. I don't think... Okay, while I shuffle around and find us a good spot, let's head back across to Tayla.
I've still got nothing, everybody, and I am desperately searching for life out on this freezing cold summer's day, I suppose, or it should be summer, but it is icy cold like winter. And so far we've got nothing. Let me just check in between the bark over here on this knobthorn, just to make sure. You can see how the bark has lifted quite nicely off of this tree, so it could give us an opportunity to maybe shine in and just check in between the bark. Maybe see something like, whoa, oh my god. Sorry everybody. Oh my goodness, I just had a nervous breakdown because the rain cover flew up and whacked me on the side of the head, but I didn't know what it was. But let's go back to the bark and just check. I can't see anything though, but sometimes if you look very carefully, you can see things like scorpions or lizards that are seeking shelter underneath the flaking bark on this dead knobthorn tree. But alas, nothing here. Oh, my goodness, everybody, I've just had the scare of my life, and I hope you all enjoyed my little squeal over there. And I'm going to have to say goodbye to all of you. It has been another fantastic afternoon with you. Sorry it was a little bit quiet, but this is the bush, so I'm going to see you all bright and early tomorrow for hopefully a sunrise safari.
So we've got the countdown beginning, and hopefully the lions decide to roar before the end of the sunset safari. It was a gamble, but I'm hoping it's going to pay off. It's happened before, right at the end of a sunset safari, that the lions have given us a magnificent demonstration. We've got 4 minutes, lions, if you would be so kind. I tried putting my dash cover back on, but it blew straight into my face, as occurred with Tayla, so I've given up on that endeavour. It definitely didn't work. Very sleepy lions. Gracie, it's always lovely to hear your questions and your comments. Gracie says that she is so happy for the rain and that the hippos will be happy once again. Gracie, I'm really happy too. I couldn't be more chuffed that it did decide to rain, and the hippos will be happy. Buffelshoek Dam has water, Treehouse Dam has water. All of the animals are so thrilled. And Gracie says happy birthday to Dave.
Thanks, Gracie.
There you go, Gracie. I think you made his day. You definitely made his day. I thank you very much to Gracie for her message to us. I woke up last night listening to the rain. It was the most incredible feeling. We knew it was coming, or we hoped it was coming, but to actually have the sound of the rain on the roof again was well and truly special. Up, hunkering down. And James, yes, that does mean that we can officially start calling Dave Downpour Dave, since he did indeed, of all the days of the year, well, not the year, of all the days in the rainy season, he picked the day in advance when it was going to rain. Well done, Downpour Dave. It's better than Dave the Dish, Dave. I think so too. I think Downpour Dave's an excellent name. The Downpour Dave, spot on. Well done, Dave. Don't know how you did it. I managed to be off by over a month, but we won't talk about that. We definitely won't talk about that ever again. At least I wasn't as pessimistic as Brent was. I think. Can't remember what he said now, actually. Okay, time is running out, Lions. You've got less than 90 seconds, if you would be so kind. I think they've decided, nope, we are not standing up in this gale force wind. You must be mental. Don't you know it's raining? We're going to lie here quite happily. Thank you very much. 60 seconds, Lions. Come on. Come on. No. Oh. 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 No. It was a good try. Unfortunately, we are out of time to do our thank yous and farewells. So big thank you to Dave for his fantastic camera work, and of course a very big happy birthday to Dave, as well as to Rebecca and to Lou in final control, and Jerry, of course, working frantically behind the scenes. And I'd actually also like to say a very big thank you to Connor, who is and Alex, our tech team, who work exceptionally hard and actually keep the ball rolling out here. And so, the last and final thank you to all of you watching across the globe. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will catch up with you on the Sunrise Safari tomorrow. Bye-bye, everyone.